My name is Stephen Allred, and I'm going to introduce you to our basic automation trainer. This trainer is designed to help you get an overview and feel for what automation is and all the pieces of an automation process. So the conveyor is designed to move pieces from one place to another. This is driven by a 24-volt DC motor right here. The motor shaft is connected to these rollers, and the rollers move the belts, which move the blocks. These blocks run down, and they go in front of this sensor. So this is a little infrared sensor that uses reflection to detect whether or not there's something in front of it. And that sends information to our controller, and we'll talk about that in a minute. The other part on this conveyor is our pneumatic pusher. This uses air power to move a little piece forward, and it moves the block right against this wall. This is our control box, and this has some buttons and switches and lights, and this uses 24 volts DC electricity to give inputs and outputs from our controller. Our controller is an Allen Bradley Micrologix 1100 PLC. Now, PLC means Programmable Logic Controller. Essentially, it's an industrial computer that runs one program really well over and over again. The PLC gets input from the sensor, from the buttons, and from the robot, and it makes decisions based on the program that we've written. It gives outputs, sends output signals to our lights, our pneumatic valve, our motor, and our motor starter. The power for the 24-volt DC motor on the conveyor is turned on and off by this motor starter. This motor starter is a switch that is controlled by 24 volts coming from the PLC. All of these wires and the 24 volts are going through these terminal blocks. These terminal blocks allow us to connect wires together in a secure fashion. So most of the power for our system comes from this 24-volt power supply, which gets its power from a 120 volts AC socket. But this pneumatic pusher gets its power from stored air in this air compressor. The last and major part of this trainer is our Universal Robots UR3 cobot. The robot has its own control system, which is housed in this case and is controlled by this teach pendant. We use this teach pendant to create a program and tell the robot what it's supposed to do. The PLC takes the information from the trainer and tells the robot when to activate. When it sends that signal to the robot's controller, the robot then runs through its program, moving the block, and when it's finished, it tells the PLC that it has finished, and then the PLC continues the rest of the program. You'll notice that this trainer has two e-stops. These are emergency stops. The Universal Robot has its own emergency stop. If it's doing something that it shouldn't do, you can hit it and it will stop immediately. And then we have an emergency stop for the rest of the system. Now, we've tied this e-stop into the robot so that when we hit it, it also stops the robot. It turns off the sensors, it turns off all the power to the conveyor and other outputs, so that if there's an emergency situation, we know that the system is shut down. While we've talked about a lot of things, there's a lot of new terminology and new components. In this class, we will walk you through each one of these components and everything that you need to do. And if at any time anything is unclear, our instructors are more than happy to help you.